Hi, I'm Dr. PsyQuest, and welcome to PsyQuest, where we roll the dice on mental exploration. I am your guide through the fascinating worlds of psychology, gaming, and some quirky expectations and connections between them. Today, we're driving and diving into the research methods. Let's explore how psychologists investigate the mind and uncover the secrets behind the science. Analyzing experiments or surveys or even case studies, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the methods that drive psychology discoveries. So, grab your dice and let's get rolling. You may wonder, what are research methods? Well, some may think it's kind of like steps for finding an answer, or maybe just different ways of trial and error. Well, people use research methods in psychology to sort of systematically study the behavior and mental processes. These methods help researchers gather really reliable data, identify patterns, and test theories. And by using these approaches, psychologists can draw conclusions to ensure their findings are credible and ethical. And now, you may wonder, what are the different types of research methods? Well, today we're going to break down the main research methods in psychology so you can see how science works without the help of Professor X. First up, descriptive methods. These are all about observing and describing behavior. They're great for getting a snapshot about what's happening without worrying about the why. Take case studies, for example, which is kind of like an in-depth investigation of a singular person, group, or event. It's kind of like zooming in with a microscope to explore specific details that might not be visible in larger studies. Now, just imagine you're a detective studying one person in incredible detail, like how psychologists study rare conditionings to learn about more. However, since it focuses on one subject of the case studies, it may not apply to everyone. Naturalistic observation. This is a research method where psychologists observe behavior in its natural environment without interfering. The goal is to see how people or animals act in the real world settings. Think of it like people watching, but for science, I think. But it can't explain why the behavior happens. You're just observing, not interfering. Just how like watching kids play on a playground when really they could be absolutely miserable about seeing their tank on Rivals go 11-11. You know, I'd be miserable too. Surveys. You know those annoying ones that you get when you're at a restaurant and waitress asks you to fill out the questionnaire for them. You know you don't do it. No, don't lie. You don't. But surveys in psychology are a way that psychologists use to ask people questions to gather information about their clients' thoughts, feelings, and or behaviors, or even opinions like Twitter, questionnaire, or interviews. These are useful for collecting large amounts of data quickly. However, the accuracy of the results depend on, well, the questions and how they are designed, and how honestly people respond. Because, we all just click down the roll most surveys anyways. But while descriptive methods are great for gathering data, they can't necessarily tell us what the cause and effect is. That's where the next method comes in. Correlational methods look at the relationship between two things. As an example, does playing Junkrat mean you're a one-trick pony? It does. A correlation study can tell us that they're connected, but can't say that playing Junkrat means you're a one-trick pony, which you are. A good visual example of positive, negative, and zero correlation means, this random math chart that they used to show us. You have the positive correlation, which means it's obvious that the value increases together and that it clings to the positive slope. Negative correlation means that the value decreases together and falls with the other points. And no correlation, well, kind of self-explanatory, showing that and having progress of positive, negative, and zero correlation can help with correlational methods at relationship between two different things. Like, being a one-trick pony if you play Junkrat. Now, if you do want to find out what causes what, you need to explain your mental methods. These are basically the gold standard in psychology. Here's how it works. You have an independent variable, something you change and, something like you learn in science. And a dependent variable is something you measure. For example, let's test if, playing Uncharted improves people's moods. One group plays Uncharted 4, that's the experimental group, and the other doesn't, which is pathetic. But that is our control group. Experiments let us kinda isolate cause and effect. If the mood improves of the group that plays Uncharted 4, we can confidently say that playing Uncharted 4 caused it. And if all fails and the mood doesn't change, that means playing Uncharted 4 does not improve your mood. Which then you can confidently say that your hypothesis means Uncharted 4 doesn't improve your mood, but I could say differ. Qualitative methods. Sometimes numbers aren't enough, and that's where qualitative methods come in. These focus on exploring feelings, experiments, and ideas in depth. For instance, an interview might ask people on how the ending of Red Dead affected their lives, which, for me, I can say it totally did. Qualitative methods are great for depth, but they don't give your statistical data like other methods. Longitudinal versus cross-selection studies. Sometimes we want to study behavior over time. That's where longitudinal studies come in, which is kind of like watching Eren Yeager slowly turn insane throughout the show, and how his views change from season 1 to the newest season, and how his memories seem to change. On the other hand, cross-sectional studies take a snapshot of different groups at one point in time. For example, comparing my memory of Anakin Skywalker's speech versus maybe the actor of Anakin himself, Hayden Christensen, to study the memory differences. Longitudinal studies are extremely detailed, but a lot of time takes place. But cross-sectional studies are quicker, but sort of less specific. So you can really pick your poison. Lastly, ethics and research. Ethics are kind of like moral principles for psychology, or guidelines, you could say. They govern a person's or group's behavior, helping them to distinguish right from wrong. In psychology, ethics refers to the rules and standards researchers must follow to ensure the dignity, rights, and well-being of their participants are well respected. This includes obtaining informed consent, ensuring confidentiality, and avoiding harm. Ethics and research help protect participants from exploitation and ensure that studies are conducted in a responsible and trustworthy manner, not like Mr. Stryker and Wolverine. So, a short recap. Descriptive methods observe our behavior, correlational methods find our relationships, experiments test cause and effect, and qualitative methods explore experience. And longitudinal studies and cross-sectional studies help us understand behavior over time. Well, next time you hear about a psychology study, think about the methods they use. It'll tell you something a lot of how they got their results. Thank you for watching, and roll out.